What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Truth on the Rocks.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for holding it down last episode. I missed y'all, but I'm happy to be back today. It was an amazing.
We missed
It was
you.
an amazing show. I'm so glad to be back. And so before we get started, you know what it is. Please hit the subscribe button, the follow button, the share button. Tell your friends, come on in the room because we have a lot to discuss today. The Black delegation is ready. Okay. I've just coined us the Black delegation. We tell the truth, right? Okay. So throughout the show, you're welcome to do so. Join in the comments, discuss with us. We'd love to hear from you. And without further ado, we're going to jump into our IC topics. I am Renata Del Carmen.
And I am Nimdia.
You already know who this is. I'm Gerald, the Black psychologist.
And I'm the one and only Maurice Griffin.
Yes, Maurice Griffin.
Really?
Wait, but before we get into our iced tea topics, I need to know, what do you guys have on the rocks? I'm doing my typical Ciroc. I got some pineapples in there, and it's just Ciroc and pineapples.
But it looks cute, though. I'm doing a little crown. I switched it up this week. I got a Crown Royal apple. So a little flavor all by itself.
All by myself. What you drinking?
That all sounds great.
I'm doing lemonade. It's hard. And I got it from this guy named Mike.
What? Mike Lemonade? Are you
that brand?
Are you having a dry January?
Mike's Hard Lemonade.
See, my good run is on point. Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Because I happen to be drinking hard sorrow. It's also known as Shandy.
Oh,
listen. I've been
around
around my Caribbean roots all week. I took home what was left, so we're doing.
Well, doesn't get you to tell the truth and nothing but the truth. That's all we care about.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. All right. So as we get into this iced tea topic, did everybody see the Janet Jackson documentary?
Of course, honey. That was the biggest thing to do.
Yes.
Woo, come on now, Renata.
I love
that.
Her.
I love that. So I feel like it was so amazing. I think when I watched it the first part, I was a little like, okay, they're about to give us just like VCR tape recordings and Janet Jackson talking in the background. I was not feeling it. I was like, this is not fair. I came here to see Janet, but they would have her like pop in a little bit at a time. But by the second one, I feel like they really allowed us to dive in to Janet's life with her. So for me, I feel like, there were so many aspects of this. It was so loaded. I feel like I'm overwhelmed. It was so loaded with things that I feel I was able to relate to. I mean, like, she was married to and divorced to James. I was same thing.
Okay, well.
Name names then. Tea then. Okay.
The tea is early. Early
in the segment. Really early.
Janet, we got a lot in common. But no, in all seriousness, I feel like it showed that she just was the type to take a licking, and she kept on ticking. And I see so much of myself where you're going through so much and people do not know. Life is literally like beating your ass. And I think we all can probably attest to, especially within the past 2 years alone. And you kind of have to get up. You have to face the day. You have to continue to thrive. And you have to look good while doing it. It's kind of like looking good while you're going through hell. So I was kind of exhausted watching it. Like, I can't believe this woman went through all of this. And I felt like I couldn't help her. I felt like I wanted to at least, help her with the little titty slip, like, here, Janet, and some tape, I felt like I didn't have any parts in helping her, but I do really feel that I never really recognized how iconic she was. And it was something that I couldn't deny. It was like, wow, because I was like caught up on Michael Jackson, but then it was like, no, Janet was the truth. she was really the truth, and she was so strong. And so it was a pleasant surprise for me. For me, I want to know with you guys, what was your takeaway from watching the 2-day documentary? Was there anything that stood out to you?
I'll jump in. I did watch it both nights, not live, but I did catch it. I loved the way the story was told. You know, I loved how she started from the beginning. Like, you can't talk about Janet Jackson without talking about the Jackson's Five, without talking
Right.
about Joe Jackson and Katherine Jackson. So I loved how she just started from her parents to her brothers, and she moved on to her life. You know, she gave much respect to her father, you know, despite what people may think, despite what people might feel. She and her brother, Randy, on the show said there would be no Michael Jackson, no Janet Jackson, no Jackson 5 without Joe Jackson. You know, he may have been very disciplined, but he had a vision for his family, and he stuck to it, and he did whatever he did what he had to do to make sure that vision came forth. You know, I just appreciate, and I just like you, Nimdia, I didn't realize like all of her accolades. Like, you know, at one time, you know, when she was signing to Virgin Records, like she became the highest paid artist of all time, you know, beating out her brother, beating out McDonough and all these other people. Just also like Rhythm Nation, I think it was like the biggest debut tour that took place. You know, she's the only artist now that was able to produce 7 top 5 hits from one album, and she has like the most consecutive top 10 entries on the US Billboard. So just recognizing like all that she did and like how amazing she was. So I just loved it. I loved it. Oh, and we finally got the tea on why her and Jermaine Dupri broke up. It was
beginning. Well, who didn't know that?
Right.
Who didn't know that? How do you mess up with Janet Jackson? Typical shit. Go ahead, Jero.
I love Janet. Always had a crush on Janet from a very long time. Such a beautiful woman, beautiful soul, so calm and laid back. You know, so seeing her last night, she's aging like fine wine. Just but in any event, what stuck out to me was the evolution of Janet. Right, she came from being the youngest of superstars. Yeah. And she didn't know how to fit in. And she kept saying, you know, I didn't know how to fit in. I didn't know who Janet was. And when she went to the studio, she started doing songs that they wanted her to sing. They gave her the sound that they wanted to hear from her. And then evolving from that into going into finding who she was and finding her identity musically really kind of, you know, propelled her career and even her personal identity, you know, to such high levels. You know, and that was one of the things that was fascinating for me. I only watched the first one, so I saw the stories about Joe Jackson, and you know, I had to call my son and like, listen, we gotta have a talk. We gotta have a talk because he had a vision. He had a vision for where he wanted his kids to go, and he was not going to divert from that division. You guys are going to be stars. You guys are going to be great, and I think that, you know, every parent, you know, should really instill that type of vision into their children. I mean, the way he went about it may have been rigid and strict, but have a vision for your children. You got to be able to see them 10 years, 20 years down the line and put them on the path to success.
Right.
Did you get to see
it? I did watch, and there was so many things that stuck out to me, the things that were said and the things that weren't said. So I loved hearing about their childhood, but I was extremely curious to know the truth about this alleged child that Janet has had for years and years and years. There was always this story about this daughter that she had with James Garge, and I just could not accept that Janet would have a child somewhere and not own it and be real with us about having this child. And some people on Twitter were still saying like, that's not really a confirming nor denying, but we'll move past that.
It was a little shaky. It definitely was a little shaky.
Okay.
There wasn't a Janet Jackson saying, I did not have a child with
This is true.
Right.
Okay.
It's detectives.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and then the other thing that was really interesting to me that I feel like maybe I was too young, because I feel like I grew up with Janet, but she is much older than I. And the relationship with her and Renee kind of, I don't feel like that was ever really public in the way that it is public in this documentary, to where he was like really a part of her creative direction and filming so all these different aspects of her life that we are now able to see. I'm shocked that Janet is even the one to tell so many stories of the Jackson family, about the parents, about Michael, because let the world tell it, it would have been LaToya that would have spilled all the tea. And it's questionable if people would have even believed her. But Janet is the one telling this story. And I really feel like she told us what she wanted us to know. And she definitely kept what she thought was not our business.
Yes. But she's very happy right now at age 53, I believe she is. I didn't even know she did another tour, Black Diamond and all. I didn't know any of this stuff. So I feel like she took us to school and we learned us some Janet yesterday and the day before that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, well, speaking about evolution and the evolution of the self, right? We've seen for the last couple of days someone evolve into such a beautiful and iconic figure. So let's talk about evolution. It's one of the things that I find fascinating about the human existence, right? Or ability to evolve. Maurice, have you evolved? Have you feel like you have evolved?
I mean, I'm trying to every day. I don't know why
I'm just picking on you. Well, one of the things is that we've evolved, and also we've evolved as far as our traditions and norms and values and the things that we think about. And now we're beginning to question some of the old traditional things that we grew up on, the things that we used to see, especially in the dating scene, right?
I mean, I'm trying to every day. I don't know.
Who's that?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, I guess you had to emphasize that you're evolving every day, right?
I guess so. The universe wanted to make that clear.
That is hilarious.
Well, thank God for that. So on the dating scene, women are now beginning to shoot their shots. Women are sliding into men's DMs, right? And they are even getting down on one knee and proposing to men. Hot boys, we here again.
Okay.
We here again. I want to give a round of applause to the women who have been proposing to men. But I'm gonna throw this one to our bachelorette, right? Ren, how do you feel about, would you ever go down on one knee and propose to a man?
I'm a person that, look, I tell people all the time, you never can say never, because you don't know what you are willing to do under certain circumstances. But this one, I will have to remain a bachelorette. I do not want to be married to a man that I had to propose to.
Oh, Lord.
What do you mean? Please elaborate on that. What do you mean? What changes in the dynamic between you proposing and he proposing?
I just imagine that I am going to be married to an alpha male, and I don't envision that an alpha male is going to allow me to get down on my knee and propose to him.
Okay, well.
Okay. So does that make him less of an alpha if you decide to propose?
Oh. That
is a great question. That is not something I thought about or contemplated, but nothing in my DNA says, nothing about the God I serve says, nothing about me says I'm getting down on a knee. Child, I'm standing in my heels.
That's looking cute, right?
Yes, like
Maurice,
this.
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on this?
Who, me?
Maurice.
Oh, yes, I'm like.
Well, I actually don't know. I really don't know. I understood everything that Renata said, however, the world is moving away from traditional norms, so I guess that just depends on the individual, her upbringing, her background, what she believes in, but women are also like fighting for equality as well. So why shouldn't they have to, or why shouldn't they feel comfortable enough with going after what they want? You know, so I feel like if and then also because we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, right? So I think another thing that is you have to consider is like the type of relationship that these two people have. You know, you have to consider like what's going on there. So maybe, you know, the woman is running the show and she just kind of feel like it's time to lock this up. I don't know, you know. So I mean, I'm not. Well, first of all, no woman would be proposing to me, so I'm not worried about that. But, so this is not even a problem of mine. But I am not. I mean, I don't fault a woman for wanting to propose to a man. I don't see a problem with it if they're both comfortable with that.
So, just as a quick statistic, 80% of men, right, said that they will say yes to a woman who proposes to them, right? So the men, we're on board. We are absolutely on board. 80%, we're absolutely on board. We will say yes. And one Twitter user said 98% of women who shoot their shot is successful. So now the success rate is going up, guys, right? In terms of relationship statuses. Shoot your shot. Nim, talk to me. You're married, right? Would you have went down on one knee? Would you have loved your husband that much?
I don't think it has anything to do with love. That's one. And I've been married twice, and my record shows that I've never had to get down on one knee,
right,
to propose to a man. But I feel like men. The reason I wouldn't do it, okay, is I feel like men know when they want to be married, and I don't want to impose my will as a woman to force a man into a situation that he may not be ready for. I feel like women, we talk about it without boyfriend or fiance. So we kind of have, well, you know, before they become our fiance, we kind of have an idea if they're going to propose, but they definitely have an idea if we're going to say yes for the most part. I feel, in my experience, they knew that I was going to say yes. So they decided to ask. But I don't think if they were uncomfortable and not knowing if I was going to say yes, that they would have been ready to get down on that knee. But women are just more willing, I feel. When they don't want to get married, man, like you're asking them, I feel like they're going to say yes because they're not going to want to embarrass you. That's one. Because that's how I feel. I don't think your man will want to embarrass you. Like, girl, get up. Like, we talked about this. First of all, you're not just embarrassing yourself, you're embarrassing me. Right? So I just feel like a man knows when he's ready. So you can't force them into a situation like that because they start acting crazy. And then next thing you know, they're like, I'm out. I don't even want to be here anymore. It's because you kind of like back them into a corner. I'm like, let that man be great. Let him lead. And if he wants to marry you, you'll know because he'll propose to you. He'll set everything up, make sure all your family and friends are there or something special. And you'll know. To me having to propose is not enough information for me to know that this is what you want.
So you're putting men in the driver's seat of the next level of the relationship.
I'm trying before I give you all this leadership after marriage. I got to bring it to the water. I'm gonna let you be the leader. Go on and be the leader.
I love it. Well, listen, 5% of women are doing it, right? Right now, we got 5%, and it's rising. Listen, I feel, hey, I'm a huge proponent of tradition, but listen, if you want to do it, go for it. Go for it. We will say yes. We will say yes.
That is crazy.
That's so interesting though, because like, if the men would say yes, then why didn't they just propose?
That's
my
true.
point exactly.
That's true. If you would see, he could propose, but a woman could propose too. I think that men like to feel that, would want to feel that as well. Like, a woman wanting to get married to me that much that she makes the offer and I make the acceptance. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I think. But I would shoot my shot as a single person, like to bag a dude up.
Okay.
So I don't know why that's different for me. Well, yes, I do, because again, I need a marriage. A man needs to be ready, and I need to know that by him doing it. But I have no problem shooting my shot from the time I was like 9. It's like I was
So you was
definitely
So in other words, you've been fast.
I've been fast
Okay.
and fasting since January.
Ooh, nice, nice.
But yeah, and I probably been rejected once out of the whole time. So
Oh
I
wow,
can deal with
wow.
that.
So your success rate is pretty high. Uh-huh.
Pretty high.
Ren, shooting your shot, yes or no?
I would shoot my shot. But speaking on the rejection part of it, does your data include what the 2% who got the no did with their lives after that? Because I can't imagine proposing to somebody and them saying no, and I'm still in a relationship with them. Because if it's a no now, it's a no forever, baby.
I hear that.
That's a hard place to come back from. But as it stands, we ain't trying to propose, right? Renata?
No.
Excellent. So you guys are not going to roll with the times. We're evolving as people. It's the 21st century. We're shooting shots. We're proposing. Come on, it's 2022. We're doing things differently.
I get all of that, and I feel that wholeheartedly. But I also feel like proposing sets precedent for the rest of the relationship, the rest of the marriage. So I propose now. I have to put the down payment for the house now. I got it just sounds like a cycle. I don't want to be
a vicious cycle.
A vicious
no. I need him to lead somewhere, somehow.
I hear you. Yeah. Things are different now. We doing apps and dating on apps and
speaking of dating on apps, I'm on a Protect Black Women kick. I'm always on a Protect Black Women kick, but this particular story is throwing me because it's had so many twists and turns. But if you have been watching mainly social media and hopefully national news soon, Lauren Smith Fields is a young woman from Connecticut, 23 years old, on Bumble. As most people use dating apps for a plethora of reasons. They're looking for their soulmate, looking for love, looking for a hookup, looking to invite people into their marriage or whatever. She met a man, they went on a date, and the man's name has been withheld from reports and media, I guess, to protect him. But I'm here to protect Black women, as I said. So we have to make sure we are speaking out about this story. But they went on a date and ended up at her home. And I don't know if the full date was at her home or just the end of it. But allegedly, she fell asleep on the couch. He then picked her up and carried her to her room, to her bed. And so I want to pause here because I forgot two major pieces of this story is that Lauren is a young Black woman at 23, and this Bumble date is a white man who is 10 plus her senior. And so she fell asleep on the couch. He takes her to her bedroom and he wakes up very early to use the restroom. She appears fine. She's snoring in the bed. He goes back to sleep, wakes up a few hours later to find her unresponsive with a lot of blood in her nose. He calls the police. They come. They question him. He tells them that the story. They met on Bumble. They were on a date last night. When she went to sleep, she was fine. He said she drank a lot of alcohol. But the interesting thing about that particular moment is that the police did not continue to question him or arrest him or hold him accountable in any way for what happened to Lauren. They let him go, claiming that he seemed like a nice guy. It's in Connecticut. And so they also didn't notify Lauren's family right away. And so it is being speculated that this is being covered up by the police department in Connecticut because there is some bigger scenario around this story. But the issue here is that Lauren's death has not been declared a homicide. It has instead been declared accidental by the medical examiner who cited fentanyl and a cocktail of other drugs, including alcohol, were the cause of her death. And so, knowing these alleged pieces of this story, do you guys think that this should be ruled a homicide and that the Bumble date should be considered a suspect?
Definitely should be considered a suspect. You know, he definitely should be investigated more, especially considering he was the last person to see her alive. He was the last person. Now, was she forced to take these drugs? Was it poured into her drink? You know, like so many questions around this. And why is it that always white heterosexual cis males always seem to be considered as a nice guy? You know, because if this person was black, you know, this person would definitely be automatically considered a suspect, not even a suspect, automatically considered probably guilty. You know, so it's just like, why is it like they always just get well, we know why, but why it's not even need to go there, but we know. So, but definitely should be considered. You were the last person to see this person alive. All these drugs were in this person's system. Were they injected? Were they like, was it, you know, like so many questions.
There's so many questions. There's so many questions. I think about, well, yeah, he should still be a suspect. He should be a suspect until the end. They should check to see if he had drugs, what was, and I guess he can answer those questions. Did she drink it? Did she snort it? Did she inject it into her arm? Fentanyl is definitely a killer of a lot of people who take it. So if she voluntarily took that drug, you know, then I guess, yeah, he can't, he's not responsible, but did he take it? Like, I would be concerned. Like, you ain't take it too. Why are you all woke and going to the bathroom? Is she sleeping knocked out? It just seems a little suspect. And I did read something, and I'm going to say alleged, Gerald.
You better, if you didn't learn the lesson from Tasha K.
Right. Well, hopefully she won't sue us for the money she has to pay Cardi B. But I'm sorry, in all seriousness, but I just feel like when I think about it as a parent, like, oh my God, as a mother, if my daughter was involved in something like this and she was dead, and to just be left with no answers, it would be devastating and heartbreaking. And then my son's not white, but I do think about my sons also being in a situation like this. And, you know, because it's a male, are we automatically prone to think this person has to be guilty? It's just really, really loaded. And I just think right now we don't have enough answers at all. But I think the fentanyl is, I don't understand why he didn't take it. I want to know if he took it.
So really quick to jump in about that, I am hearing street talk and just watching different things that people who party do coke. The streets there is tricky getting product, and so they're substituting with fentanyl. And sometimes people don't even know when they're snorting that it is fentanyl that they are snorting within this cocktail. So that could be, we don't know, speculating, alleged. But Gerald, what do you think in regards to like his role? Moving her from the couch to the bed and being frantic when the police arrive, but still seeming like a nice guy. It's all very questionable.
I mean, you know, most serial killers were nice guys, right? We talk about Ted Bundy; he was the ultimate charmer. You talk about the, you know, other serial killers that they were extremely charming, yet narcissistic. There has to be a lot of victimology that has to go into this particular case. They gotta get more information, more data, as far as his lifestyle, her lifestyle, to try to piece these things together. There's a cocktail of different drugs that were present, and we don't know who it came from. Who did it come from? Who brought it? Who brought it with them? Did she bring it with her? Did he bring it with him?
Right.
Like there's just a lot of spaces in between in this case. And guys, we're talking about Bridgeport, Connecticut. There is a lawsuit going on right now with the Bridgeport, Connecticut Police Department, where African American police officers have reported to being unfairly treated in the Bridgeport Police Department. So we're talking about racism happening in the force itself, to the point when internal investigation has to be done. So we're looking at, so in that particular situation, we're already, against the 8 ball, because the cops are going to come in and they're going to do a subpar job. They're not going to follow up on anything. They're not going to ask questions. They're going to see a young Black woman. They're going to see a white male who looks like a nice guy, and they're going to rule it accidental. And I think it's unfair. And I really hope that there's justice for this young woman.
And this is unfair online dating. I am an advocate for online dating. I've been doing it for years, and nothing has ever happened to me.
Maybe you're the problem.
And so to that point, right? A lot of people, I thought it was very interesting that a lot of people were pressing Bumble to make a statement or release like information about the communication he and her had on the app prior to that point. And I really don't feel like Bumble was required to release a statement. Like the people use the platform and agree to the terms and conditions that Bumble has, but that doesn't mean like, because if we're going to name what some aren't naming as an issue, like I don't agree with her having this man in her home the first time she met him in person ever and sleeping over, right? Bumble didn't make her do that, right? Bumble didn't make him do that. So I'm not feeling like Bumble has any responsibility here, but I do feel like the police need to get the information around their communication and dig into this investigation of how he even ended up at her house. Was he supposed to be at her house? Because everything he talked about was her being knocked out from the couch to the bed. He never said, oh, we got out her car, we got out the car, when we got into her house, we did this and that. Like, as far as I'm reading, I haven't seen anything else about the date. He didn't talk about this fabulous candlelight dinner they had and the conversation, none of that. It was just, she was knocked out. I moved her to the bed. She's dead. Yeah, no.
Right. And I think we need to know how long she was dead. Like right after you guys linked up, was she dead? And he did call the cops. I mean, he didn't call her parents. And I don't know, maybe he didn't have access to that information, because that did come up. That was something I heard, that he didn't even call the parents and say, hey, this happened. Is there any way that I can help you? And I can see as the parent, why are you not calling me? Why would you not want to give me some resolve, something to go off of? But I can also see as a person who is about to go to jail potentially, how I could be very afraid to say anything at this point. And, I can see both sides of it. It's a really, really, really horrible thing that happened. Oh my God. It just really makes me sick to my stomach. It really makes me sick to my stomach, because we are in a world where people are dating on the sites like Maurice. Renata, are you on the sites dating? Okay. All right. So see, there's another level of fear that comes, even though Bumblebee may not feel like they have something to seek for. It does bring an awareness to, oh my God, we're putting ourselves in harm's way potentially, because something like this happens, and then you don't want to be the person, or your friend or your family, your child, to be left on the wayside. And this case is dismissed as accidental.
Let me say this. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to kick it over to Maurice. As someone who is familiar with people who have worked for the police department, military service, and beyond, and family too, police officers, let me say this. A white man who is in that situation and calls the police frantically and remains unidentified to the public is likely a police officer, because they protect their own. Yeah. I'm not a prophet. I don't call myself a prophet or nothing. But if we find out that this man is a police officer,
it would make sense.
Well, some information that I saw was that he's not a police officer, but he's very well connected to the Bridgeport Police Department. They didn't say how, but he is definitely connected to the Police Department of Bridgeport. Yes.
Well, all I'll just say is we need justice for Lawrence Smith Fields.
Yes, we do.
Need immediately. Well, just to change the note a little bit, we are going to do our seems as if we have like a little famous segment, Renata, when you weren't here the last episode. I was very, very popular with the people. So here it is. It's time for us to do the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
So help me God.
All that Gerald did last time. Like, is that even necessary?
You have to say it like that.
Clearly you have to say it like that. I have to like do something with my lungs or something like that. Just to explain to everyone, this is when we kind of just ask each other questions, personal questions that many of us may not know the answer to. And no matter what the question is, we have to tell the truth. No pleading the fifth over here on Truth on the Rocks for this segment. So this is the question that we will put to the panel this week. What's the first thing you do if you woke up one day and you were the opposite sex? I'm going to just say it one more time because I feel like people need a couple more seconds to think. What's the first thing you do if you woke up one day and you were the opposite sex? Nimdia, I'm going to throw it to you, homegirl.
Why? Do I look like I have the answer? In all transparency, this has me stumped because it's like nothing I've ever really thought about in my life.
Right.
However, I feel like I need some context. Like, am I waking up as a homeless man? Am I waking up as a rich man? Am I waking up good looking? You know, like what kind of man am I waking up as? I don't know. I just think that, I mean, my natural response would be to try to sleep with all the women that I can. That would be my natural response without judgment of myself, is to sleep with all the women that I can.
All right, Gerald.
You know, that's why the Lord made men men and women women. We would just never swap like that. Firstly, you should count it a privilege.
Hello.
To wake up in the body of a man. It is a privilege to have what we have.
I was sleeping
in America.
Do the things that we do.
Tell that to Kim Kardashian.
You know, come on now. Women are proposing to us now. You know, we're getting back in position. All right. However, the first question I have was, am I waking up looking like Megan Good? Because if I am, good God damn it. Oh my God.
You gonna touch yourself?
Woo.
You just asked that question?
Well, that was part of my answer. I would have to look at myself in the mirror a couple of times and, see what it feels like. But I'm gonna look over to my wife. And we're gonna have a nice little lesbian experience.
Is she open to that?
Oh, that was my
I don't know. But we'll find out on that morning.
No, I ain't think about that. I ain't
And
think
then
about
after
rolling
that-
over to Walter and saying,
Yeah. Then after that, I probably will find some type of women's right, coalition to join and be a part of, and just speak on.
Oh, you don't want to be a first lady.
Things.
Renata, the truth comes out. You see?
Nah, I don't want to be no first lady. But a lot of thoughts came to mind. I don't know. I hit the strip club. I don't know. Things that women do.
You want to be a stripper?
women do? What do women do? What we do?
Strippers get a lot of attention. In addition to that, they get a lot of money.
Do
They do. If you go to Atlanta,
they supposed to. Say they supposed to get a lot of money.
They're supposed to get a lot of money.
Allegedly.
I'll fly to Atlanta to that strip club. What's the name of the strip club in Atlanta?
There's a couple.
There's a famous one, but I can't think of the name right now.
I can't remember the name of it, but I'll find the name of it. But yes, that's my answer.
Okay.
Wake up.
We love a good strip club, though, but we ain't gonna tell the
lesbian
truth, the whole truth,
experience.
nothing but the truth, Gerald. On
Women's coalition.
Don't tell it.
Women's coalition, women empowerment, and then the strip club. All that's the full day. And that's the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
I love that Gerald has planned out his whole mission as a woman. I'm still trying to get past waking up a man, like after being in utter and complete shock. I probably then have to learn how to shoot, not my shot, but my urine into the toilet, because I've been sitting on the toilet well, not every toilet, because sometimes you gotta squat as a man, right? But I think aiming into the toilet correctly, accurately, and not getting pee on the floor is important.
It's very easy.
It's
it's a lot.
Honey, well, number one, you might get a lot of practice because when you wake up in the morning, more than likely your dick will be hard. So sometimes you have to sit down because it's hard to aim. So more men sit down and pee than you think, and and more to admit it.
Well, when I wake up, my dick be hard. So
I cannot.
So men sit down. So that's it. That's what you're saying. That would be it. You have to learn how to use the bathroom properly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maurice, this question is very interesting for you.
It is interesting for me. Honestly, I'm like you. I don't really know the answer to it, but I think if I woke up, one of the first things I would do is get a breast and butt implant because I know that pussy rules the world. I think pussy rules the world. And
you heard it here first, people.
Right, you heard it here first.
Well, I mean, women have pull with men, and that pillow talk is very, very important. So, so I'll wake up. Oh, I got the pussy. Also, I guess I need a bigger ass and I need a bigger breast. So I think that's what I would do. I think that's just what I would do. So, but anyway, so that's the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
So help me God.
Right.
Excellent. Love it. Love it. Love it. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Please remember to like, share, and follow our social media pages. We'll be back with another fresh episode on Sunday, February 13th at 6 p.m.
Yes.
You're not gonna know what we're gonna talk about. It could be anything. Anything, and it's gonna be the truth.
Yeah.
So, let's raise our glasses to another successful episode.
Yeah.
Truth in the Rocks. And remember, when your truth gets too difficult, just have it responsibly and have it on the rocks.
On the rocks. Yes.
Yeah.
Love you guys.
Love y'all.